Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have a very serious show for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is CTABANZ. You want to follow the channel? It's called Dreamerspro, same name as the channel. Let me get into this topic here. So this morning, excuse me, I was doing some research, and I came across this story that was essentially featured over the internet on Shannon Sharpe's club, Shay Shay. Recently, he had a sit down, or he published a show about it with a sit down that he had with American actress Amanda Seales, or I hope I'm pronouncing her last name correctly. And she's someone that's been acting for quite some time. She actually got her first minor role in the 1993 movie Cop and a Half. Then the next year, Seales was featured on the Nickelodeon sitcom My Brother and Me. In 1994, in 2002, she appeared on Russell Simmons' Def Poetry Jam. Seales also became publicly known as VJ Amanda Diva on MTV2 Sucker Free. And she's gone on to do a bunch of different things there. So she seems to be a talented actress there, right? So that's kind of her background. So they were having a sit down and they were talking about a range of things. But then I came across this clip that seems to be going viral all over the internet that everyone is talking about, which is centered on an exchange that she had with Shannon Sharpe during their sit down, where a lot of people are upset with Shannon, you know, based on the position that he took during this back and forth that they had, where she was essentially describing racist behavior that she experienced as a young kid. And as she was describing it, Shannon Sharpe, to some, came off as someone who was trying to excuse or overlook the racism that she experienced during her younger days. And a lot of people took exception to that, including her in the interview. And she, you could see, got visibly uncomfortable as Shannon Sharpe was saying what he said, and they had a bit of an awkward moment during that exchange. So that's what we want to focus on today. So we want to play that for you now. I want you guys to listen to it in its entirety, and then want to come back and really get into the show. Take a listen to this here.
And I was in the situation at Disney. I was there as the only black girl. Okay. And there was a whole crew. It's like 12 of us. And so I was called an N-word right there while I was there. And I was also bullied while I was there because I was told that you're only here because you're black. You can't really dance. You're just here because you're black. So don't get any ideas. So that's what I'm being told by the other children. Does that suffice as racist to you, or would you want to call it something else? Is that just kids being mean?
The kids. So let me ask you a question. As a child, you never said anything derogatory? You was just this model citizen as a child? I mean, children. Now, we're talking children, not functioning adults. Now, if you told me as adults, parents were telling you this, or the execs or people that are in charge of Disney are telling you this, I could agree with it. But at 89, you're probably 8, 9 years of age. Maybe younger.
So you have no problem with the children that were cursing out Ruby Bridges and the Little Rock Nine? You think do you think that was just them being kids?
Two things can be true. Kids can be kids and not function as an adult, and things can be wrong. And sometimes when kids say things, they're repeating what they heard their parents say. They don't know it's wrong.
So what about the children who are receiving it that know it's wrong? Does that not matter?
Yes.
So if I'm 10 and I'm receiving that treatment and I know it's wrong, does it make my experience of it less valid?
It doesn't make it any less valid. No.
So that's what we're here to talk about, my experience.
Yes.
So my experience is that I experienced that and it was difficult. So that's the valid part of this. I'm not here to protect those people because it's irrelevant. If I have an experience and you're telling me that my experience isn't what it is. You're telling me that my thinking somebody is racist, who I was in a classroom with for a year, that you have never met, you are emitting doubt upon that because of your own experiences.
No, I was talking about the teacher and you.
Right.
And I said,
in your
I believe based on my
experience.
And a lot of people is that kids correct an adult,
right,
no matter what society it is frowned upon. That's what I was saying. Okay. You took it as that I'm trying to minimize your experience and say, well, I'm defending her when I wasn't.
Okay. I think there's something worth saying that could come off that way, and it should be something to consider.
Well, see, again, you're going to consider it your way because you see things, like you said, you see things through your prism. Okay.
I think it's fascinating to watch you accuse me of doing the thing that you're doing.
No,
it's fascinating.
I think it's
fascinating.
This is your interview, so I won't interject what I think. But anyway, your mom is white.
My mother is not white.
So you heard the exchange between Shannon and Amanda. What are my thoughts on this conversation that these two people were having? I think that they were speaking about the issue from two vantage points. In the case of Amanda Seales, talking about experiencing racism as a kid and from other kids, what she's talking about, excuse me, is a real thing, right? And I think it's real to those who have experienced it. If you haven't experienced it, I don't think it's worthwhile me sitting here trying to convince you that the thing it has existed. But just because you may have not experienced it doesn't mean that it's not valid, that it's not real. What she's talking about, I think, is something that a lot of kids have gone through. Hell, I went through it, right, as a kid, and it was hurtful at the time to see kids kind of do that to you. But kids can be very, very mean, right? Kids can be very, very mean. And in some cases they can do that. It's funny. I was having a conversation with my wife about maybe a month or so ago, and she was telling me about something that her nephew, who's in the UK, was experiencing in school, because he was having this new experience where the new thing is because you're brown, you're the brown boy, and he's like, the brown boy. And then it became this conversation in the house, and the parents were trying to figure out, where did you hear that from? And it became this big thing in their school, and they're trying to solve it. So these things happen, right? And to the kids that experience it, like myself and others, it's real. It's 100% real, right? You feel it. You feel bad. You feel uncomfortable, right? You doubt yourself as a person, especially at that age where you can't really rationalize things properly. As an adult, if somebody comes up to me and says, "Hey, you N-word," yeah, I'll be upset, but it's not going to take me to the point where it's like, okay, this guy just defined me and I'm going to be second guessing myself. No, that's not going to happen. But as a kid, these things can really affect you, especially if they go on unchecked. So I can understand her frustration in that moment as she was reacting to what Shannon was saying. Now, in the case of Shannon Sharpe, he was talking about it, I personally believe, from a vantage point of kids a lot of time learn these things from their parents and the people that they grow up around, right? You grow up in a certain environment, especially as a kid, you're going to be copying what you see, modeling what you see. And if this is something that's said in your house and household and all of that, then you go outside and you just become a mirror of what you are accustomed to in your house, right? That is also true. That in itself is also true. I think, though, however, where Amanda probably got frustrated with Shannon is because he's talking about the root. She's talking about the effect. Yes, that may be the root of it, but it doesn't change the effect. Therefore, she said, it doesn't make my feelings less valid. It doesn't make my experiences less valid, which is 100% true. That is absolutely true. Just because you can describe why something is happening doesn't mean that it's not happening and there are not consequences for that event occurring. But in the case of some people now saying, listen, Shannon Sharpe is whatever, bootlicking or whatever, hell, I'm not going to go that far. As a matter of fact, I think that would be ridiculous to say, because I've heard Shannon Sharpe on numerous occasions on Undisputed come to the defense of black people. So I'm not jumping out the window. There are people that do that. They hear something and they just jump out the window. That's just foolishness. I'm not doing that. I've heard Shannon on many occasions defend the community that he comes from. And I'm not one of those people that's going to say, that's stupidity, right? you can have a moment where you disagree with someone, but then don't use that as, oh, I'm going to cancel this person out and all the other things. That's madness. That's madness, right? Because no, that means you can do something correct all the time, and then the minute you do something wrong, people are ready to throw you away. I'm not with that school of thought, and there are people that do that. But hey, listen, a lot of people are disagreeing with Shannon. So the question I have for the audience is quite simply this. What are your thoughts on the explanation and the analysis that I put forward, right? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Whose side are you on? Are you on Shannon's side or are you on Amanda's side? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comments section. We catch you guys on the next show. Peace.